My little Fullmetal Alchemist of Hamlet and also an Enchanted library is in there somewhere. Queen Haven's Revenge. Chapter 1. I dream of Haven. Dream ghosts are real. In Pip's dream, she stood atop the highest tower of Zephyr Heights upon an observation deck. Beside the Pegasus filly, her mother materialized, Queen Haven. Haven said,
"Hello, dear. I have a lot to tell you, so pay attention this time."
Haven took a deep breath.
2 days after he married me, Duke Clopius had my royal appearance's flight-faking wires sabotaged. That's how I fell on my head and died in front of thousands of our loyal Pegasus subjects. That's how he became regent and guardian over my poor little ponies. He and his son, Haertes, has been secretly plotting to marry Haertes to your big sister, the heir to the throne, so Clopius and Haertes can rule Zephyr Heights forever.
Pip shouted.
You think I don't know this? That's what you told me last night and the night before. And their plot to make Zip marry Haertes isn't exactly a secret. Clopius has been dropping hints about it for the last 3 months. Just to assure your future, he says. Those two are real creeps. Well then.
Haven nodded.
I'm glad you remember. So why haven't you and Zip avenged my death yet? Zip and I are just two fillies. What am I supposed to do? Tell the royal guards I had a bad dream so they should execute Clopius? If I tried that, they would say I must have eaten some bad pizza. They might even accuse me of putting anchovies on it. Every pony knows that's one reason Earth ponies are so bad. Because they smuggle the anchovies in a Zephyria that bad fools take to get high and hallucinate.
She shook her head.
So what do you expect me to do?
Haven smiled.
So you do want to avenge my death? Trust me, if I have to hear Clopius and Haertes ask one more time whether as the runt of the litter, I'd rather marry Haertes along with Zip, or accept Clopius's gracious offer to marry me himself.
Haven frowned.
How disgusting. It's time I told you the next step to getting our revenge. Even if it means feeding both Clopius and Haertes into a wood chipper, I'm all for it. I hate those two so much.
Haven leaned in close to her youngest daughter.
Listen closely,
she whispered. The next evening, Pip pulled Zip aside.
Hey, big sis! I wanted to talk with you, Zip to Pip. Sure,
Zip agreed.
What about? Come with me to the palace gardens, where there aren't any curtains for eavesdroppers to hide behind.
Pip led her sister into a hedge maze.
Now that we're all alone, last night I had a dream. So? Ponies have dreams every night. But this was the same dream I had as the night before, and the night before that! That means this must be a special dream.
Zip snorted.
Was it the dream about 3 underwear catalog models and a gallon of preening oil again? No! This was a dream about our mother! She gave me some very specific instructions for both of us to follow.
Zip shook her head.
Our mother is dead, Pip. We have to accept that.
Pip thought for a moment.
I never thought you of all ponies would be afraid. What? I'm never afraid. I just don't believe in ghosts. That's all. Dreams aren't real, and dream ghosts are even less real. If you weren't afraid, you wouldn't be afraid to go to the palace library at midnight tonight with me, would you? Of course you wouldn't be afraid. Unless you're a scaredy fool.
Zip stomped a hoof.
I'm not a coward, and ghosts aren't real. But I'll come along with you anyway, just to help keep you out of trouble. Oh, thank you so much.
Pip hugged her sister and kissed her on the cheek.
The dream said it was important that you come along. Thank you. You're the best sister ever. Yeah. Now we'd better run along to dinner before any pony wonders where we are.
Late that night, Zip nudged her sister.
Hey, little flufflings. It's time to sneak out to the library.
Pip's eyes opened.
You remembered. How could I forget?
Zip snorted.
Besides, if we don't go, you'd probably never let me hear the end of it. And I am a little bit curious.
Pip opened a window. The 2 Pegasus fillies climbed out into the vines growing on the palace walls, which they used to evade the first set of nighttime guards. By sneaking carefully through the palace and its grounds, the fillies entered the royal library.
I don't see what's supposed to be so special about this place.
Zip grumbled.
It's just a bunch of dusty old books. Not just any bunch of dusty old books.
Pip said.
You remember the legend of Bloody Mary?
Zip laughed.
We tried that one years ago, and as you might remember, nothing happened. Yes?
Pip said.
But the instructions Mother gave me are special, and this library is a special place. And midnight in a library is a special time too. Now we just need a big, thick book.
Zip tapped an unabridged dictionary on a stand.
Will this do? Yes, that's perfect!
Pip reached with one forehoof.
Let's both of us open it at the same time, to somewhere in the middle.
The two fillies opened the book, together.
And now, say the name along with me. 3 times.
Zip snorted, but nodded.
Twilight Sparkle, Twilight Sparkle, Twilight Sparkle.
The two fillies stared at the book's pages, finding nothing more than the dictionary's usual innards. They looked around for any sign. At all. A minute later, Pip sighed.
I should have known it was too good to be true. No?
Zip said.
I think we might have been a minute early. Do we need to say it at midnight exactly? Let's try it again. Twilight Sparkle, Twilight Sparkle, Twilight Sparkle.
Again, the fillies searched for any sign, any manifestation of magic at all. Pip sighed again.
Maybe some pony slipped anchovies into my dinner. 3 nights in a row, after what they did to Mother.
Behind the fillies, some creature cleared her throat.
What did they do to your mother?
Pip screamed, while Zip leaped into the air and landed in a karate stance.
Who are you?
Zip shouted. A wavering, blurry purple figure chuckled.
You should know. You called me by name and I came. I was afraid every pony had forgotten me. How did you find out?
Pip said.
My mother told me. In a dream. She's dead. Duke Clapius had her murdered.
Twilight winced.
That sounds horrible. I'm sorry, little fillies.
Zip grimaced.
Don't call me little!
Twilight might have smiled slightly for a moment.
Okay, 2 mostly grown-up fillies. Young mares. But either way, no matter how young or old you are, having your mother murdered is a terrible thing. I offer my condolences and sympathies. Thank you.
Pip said, and Zip echoed.
Now?
Twilight took a deep breath. Or appeared to.
Why have you called for me? Are you having trouble finding a book?
Pip grinned, showing her teeth.
You might say that. My mother told me you could show us the way to the alchemical Alchemist.
Twilight's eyes narrowed.
The Alchemist? That's some pretty serious stuff. It's very dangerous. And letting a murderer like Clapius rule Zephyria isn't dangerous?
Zip stomped a hoof.
I'm willing to take any risk to defeat him. Well then...
Twilight pursed her lips.
I have to ask you two to be careful. The Alchemist is dangerous, even deadly. Good.
Pip's eyes flashed with anger.
Dangerous and deadly not only to this Duke Clapius, but also to any pony who tries to wield the book's powers. Make one mistake, one false move, and you could lose life and limb. Both of you could join your mother in an instant. With Clapius on the throne, life isn't worth living.
Pip growled.
And I would give my own life to protect my sister, if that's what it takes.
Zip added. Twilight sighed.
I just hope this turns out better for you two than it did for the last pony, who tried to use the Alchemist's treacherous magic.
She sighed again.
Centuries ago, Zephyrbreeze hoped to win the heart of his sister's best friend, but he made a serious misjudgment and destroyed Equestria, fracturing its remnants into 3 separate petty realms. Zephyrbreeze?
Pip asked.
Zephyr. Is his name a coincidence, or was our kingdom named after him?
Twilight shook her head.
I don't like to talk about that. It brings back such terrible memories. Just take his mistake as a warning. Sure,
Pip said.
And now that we've been warned, where's this book?
Twilight led the 2 Pegasus princesses deep into the library. She stopped in one aisle.
Now this shelf, only appears between the hours of midnight and 1, and can only be seen and touched by ponies whose hearts are pure. Well, relatively pure.
Zip chuckled. That's Pip, all right.
She's such an innocent. Hey! Like you're such a big deal? Are you saying you're guilty? Now.
Twilight chided.
I advise you to, whenever you aren't using the book, to put it back on the shelf. Really, you should always put the book back before the hour of 1 so ponies who are less pure-hearted than yourselves won't find the book and misuse it in some horrible way that could cause a huge disaster. Sure,
Pip said.
Now where's the book? Is it this one?
She pulled a book from the shelf and opened it.
Alchemical Alchemist. Ye Alchemy of All Elements, 1st edition.
Twilight nodded.
Be careful to heed my warnings. Never misuse the book. Always respect its dangers, and always put it back on its shelf before 1 o'clock of the night, to help protect the tome from unworthy eyes and hooves. Also what?
Zip asked.
I wish you two the best of luck.
The purple specter vanished.
Okay,
Zip said.
I guess I do believe in ghosts. And in dream ghosts too, because I don't know any other way to explain what just happened.
Pip barely heard, with her eyes already fixed upon the book's first page. As you can see, the author made a slam-fantastic way of making a story out of this abomination of AI art. But hey, there's entertainment in it, and who doesn't love a good laugh? Anywho, let's get on to our not abominations of donators. Top donators are 630, BadassWaffle, Onlyonething, Ceru, Orion, IronSky, and Jessie Smith. Matchbook 109, JockeTF, JockeTF, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel, Alistair, Rolan, Stu, Hextor, Brother, Mordred, Omicron, Lyrae, RuneSide 9852, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Rice, Shadowman, Luigi 88, Chancer Quest, Big Smoke 369, Bobcat, GGF, Murder Princess, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.